Stan 3D painting. In part 1, I did a video where I actually used Tinkercad to design some 3D printable faux stained glass frames like this. And in this part, you could use any of these art supplies, either kids' water paint, acrylic paint, or even food coloring, mixed with some clear or white school glue to make any of these nice faux stained glass ornaments. For these ornaments, these two are just ones that I designed quickly in Tinkercad. This one came from a black and white coloring book picture. Now to fill these in, this is clear school glue and acrylic paint. And later in part 2, I'll show you how to mix that and paint this onto the material. And for backing, this is actually clear packing tape. So it's the packing tape's on the back of it. And that provides a base for this. And like the cloud detail here, this is just a little bit of white glue just to make it a little more opaque. So this is something you could have a lot of fun designing with. And this is fairly permanent, so you could use it as a tree ornament or as a window decoration like this. So yesterday I did some palette experiments with clear glue and regular white glue. And I tried different things. So I've got the kids paint, which is water-based, acrylic paint, which is probably the most expensive, but it also is the most consistent, and food coloring. So I did a test palette here. The top row is all the white with white glue, bottom row is with clear glue. I actually tried painting this originally just straight onto a plastic bag. Turns out that doesn't work real well. So I ended up splotching it up a bit. And what I found, get this up, is that the food coloring and glue does give a nice that the food coloring and glue is okay for transmittance. The acrylic probably has a nice consistent color throughout. The kids paint was probably it's actually about the same from what I could tell. The only difference I could really tell is the acrylic took a little longer to dry, and the kids paint was okay, but it took about half a day to dry. Now all the sites that I've seen for doing this method, so you can see that the food coloring and clear glue is pretty washed out. Again, the acrylic probably had the best consistency, followed by the kids paint. So I ended up getting a nice set of acrylic paints for this, so I'm going to go ahead and use the clear glue and acrylic on this. For this project, I'm going to start with a coloring book drawing of what I printed, and I'll do a time lapse next of me coloring in this drawing. This will be the layout for what I want for the printed frame. And next thing I'll do is I'm going to put packing tape over the back and use that to start painting in the stained glass frame. So to start this, I'm just going to put some clear packing tape over the back of this whole piece. Now it's okay if it leaves the edge out, I'm just going to cut that off later. And press in the tape against the edge. Really seal it up. And if there's any creases, just pop the creases out. And so all the paint mix is going to go into all of these spots here. While I'm at it, I'm also going to do one of these ornaments. And just, if there's any weird paint or anything left over, I'm going to do it in this. So to start this, I'm going to do a color at a time. So I've got these little condiment cups. You can get them by the thousands at any bulk store, or you could use just any other sample or palette or whatever you have. I'm going to mix an equal part of clear glue, and I want a rich, vibrant color, so it's probably a little rich. And then use any kind of stir stick. I've got these swizzle sticks. You could use toothpicks, anything else. Mix it all up, and if you see any bubbles, go ahead and pop those. Now when you paint this, you could use any set of brushes. And so I just have these kids brushes, which should be good for getting into the detailed spots. There is a fine point one. If you have a finer point brush, you could use that. And just carefully go along and start with, since I'm doing red, I'm going to do the little bobbles there, see what I can do. about an hour's worth of work just to get all the details in. So going from the color crayon drawing to this, lost some details, but that's fine. Did fill in the gaps here with a little bit of leftover paint. And overall, and for the cloud, I actually just used a little bit of the white glue and just kind of used that to water in and fill in that space, make it more opaque. So the goal is when it's hung up, whatever the background is outside will show through the bottom and a little bit up through the top. So I'm going to let this dry overnight and put a suction cup through the hexagon hole up there. See how this looks in the morning. Same thing with these ornaments. Pretty much just use the extra leftover paint. And already I'm starting to get a really cool stained glass effect through that. And you can play around with different colors and designs. I just wanted to kind of do a little bit of a candy cane. I just wanted to put a little bit of a candy cane design through the center of this one. So I probably should use the white glue at that time. Oh well.